It's the Solar One Sci-Fi podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode, what number is it?
146.
146 of the Solar One Sci-Fi podcast. And Michael is looking like a tourist this week.
Because it's sunny down where I am living.
No, we ain't got any
and you ain't got any bloody sunlight, have you? So I'm feeling extra sun this week.
We've got the balcony, we've got the famous balcony in the background again.
I can never see because it's too bright on the monitor to see what's behind me.
And this week we're going to be talking about all kinds of things, of spaceships and aliens and science fiction movies.
Classic 50s.
I'd like to present to you my co-host, Michael Paul, a.k.a. Coquelut. And I am Martin Fowler, and by the gods of science fiction. So please check out our channels. I cover the obscure and the crap. And Michael covers radio shows,
comedy and pranks,
comedy and like candid camera type stuff.
Yeah. That's my forte.
Please check out his channel, and it's very good.
Thank you. I've had about 2,000 subscribers in about the last 2 days. It's gone really mad on my channel.
Good.
So thank you very much, everyone.
I've had a lot.
But it's gone really shot up. It's weird. It really fluctuates. Sometimes it really goes down. But if you're watching this and you've recently subscribed, even though this isn't always the content which is from the other stuff, I appreciate you checking out my channel. My channel was always made just to basically give people a laugh. And although it's science fiction on this channel, on this podcast, it is really for us just to have a laugh on stuff that we just happen to enjoy at the same time. So please do. Martin, thank you very much for introducing this week. We are got some interesting things to talk about this week. We are going to be still staying with the 1950s retro science fiction, and we're going to be covering When Worlds Collide. At the end of the show, I have found a great parody of Strange New Worlds intro. It's done like a 1950s movie retro intro to Strange New Worlds. I'll post the links to the people who did it at the end. It's well worth watching. It's very well done. It's just excellent. But before we go on about that, because we've basically got no news at all, there's nothing to report at all. Everything's we're obviously Strange New Worlds starts next week, so we'll be following that soon. You mentioned to me about a report that you just apparently is really blowing up on the internet today about a crashed UFO or something that you saw.
No, it's come out. I did do some digging into this. As you know, I'm one of them. I'm into ufology. Yeah. It's come out on the news on a serious note. It's come out that there's been a secret UFO retrieval squad.
Okay.
And it's been covered up for the last 30-40 years. And
that's huge, though. That's massive.
An intelligence operative, which is confirmed, he was from the Pentagon. He was in Space Force. And he's come out and he's blown the whistle and documents. We've not seen the documents yet. He's given them to Congress because they're having these hearings. And he turned around and said, yeah, they've got stuff. Things have crashed and they've got it. And he said they've got bodies as well.
So, I mean, I was
aware. It's interesting. I mean, it could be. I mean, there could be a counter story at some point that's going to rubbish him, but nobody has come out and challenged him just yet. So, and this guy's the real thing. He worked in very high up in the Pentagon in sort of secret shit, and he's come out and exposed it. Apparently, a secret UFO squad retrieval unit that goes round the world and.
Is this related to the other day? There was a big conference going on with regard to NASA, going on about some of the things that they've encountered and all this sort of stuff. And it was actually on BBC. It was actually like on the live feed and stuff. And they're saying, oh, they've gone for their lunch break, then they're going to come back. And this has all been treated quite seriously, which is quite a turn up for the books. So is that related to that, or is this just a separate thing at the same time?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, it's come out. This guy's the real thing. Apparently, I mean, he's all over their news networks.
But are they actually? Do you think they're going to actually release some footage of stuff?
Well, it's the problem where it does slightly fall upon itself. He's got documents and he's handed them into Congress, but nobody's seen them yet.
So, as you say, Congress, I assume they'll be deciding what to do next.
Yeah, well, Congress in America, a certain part of Congress, set up a committee where they're investigating.
That's where this has come from, isn't it? This is what this is all this is about, isn't it?
There's been a lot of things happening over the last year or so.
That's why I'm not sure about. Yeah, right. Okay.
And they're wanting to know what they are, and now it's come out. It looking like the guy. It's interesting. The interview, he said they've been lying to everybody for the last 40 years. He said they've got it.
Well, if this all comes out, won't this be one of the biggest news events of our lives? If it's actually confirmed that there is something which they have found, which is not from our planet.
Well, you say again,
unless it's something which is to do with unless it's something human based.
The problem with a lot of us that like to believe this, but the problem is just one man, and we're not seeing any proof. He's all right. He works at secret whatever, and he's high up in the military and Space Force, and that's proven. He's very credible.
Okay.
But the problem is, again, we're not seeing anything. Do you know what I mean? It's and the other thing is, I agree with you. This should have blown up all over the place, and again, we just treat it as something casual.
Yeah, but that's why.
Very casual. You've frozen. Have you frozen?
I don't know. Am I there? Hello. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? You see me?
You're frozen. Hello.
Oh God, am I frozen? I can hear you. Okay. Oh blimey! Give me a second. Oh, hang on.
I don't know what happened there. You froze.
Am I back though?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened there either. It doesn't normally do that, does it? But that's fine. That's okay.
I was on a roll then.
I know. Carry on. Sorry,
and you ruined it.
That was my network. That was my network. Carry on what you're saying. I apologise. Go on. Carry on what you're saying.
All right. Well, I don't know. It should be treated a lot more than this, but it's out, and I mean, we are living in remarkable times. I mean, technologically, it's absolutely mind blowing. Yeah. I've been watching a lot about the AI thing.
Me too. You know, we've been talking about this, haven't we?
Yeah, and it's terrifying, but also exciting, the potential. And it's funny how this stuff sort of coming out as well now. You know, and look at the leaps in space technology
There's some big things going along. Actually, it's you know how in the 20th century we had some periods where there was like a big jump in technology. Like there was a big jump after World War II because
with the nuclear technology.
Because it was used integral to and it seems like there is some big change now with AI, and then obviously, as you say, there's all sorts of things like there's electric cars now. Computers are getting more smarter. It's a very strange time we're living in.
Well, look at robotic technology. Look at bot technology. It's incredible.
It is actually incredible.
The only thing that holds them back is the power supply. It's on like it's so much until we get to the point where we can miniaturize power supplies. But we're getting there.
But there's all sorts of things which are going along, and like like electric vehicles and stuff like that. You know, they are everywhere. I see Teslas all over the place now, and
weird, aren't they?
They're so quiet. They're so quiet.
Yeah, I was going to the bus stop a couple of days ago, and I was walking sat on the pavement, and there was a car coming up slow. It's like this low winding jet noise.
Yeah, it's really strange.
And it was an electric car.
Yeah,
you know,
and they get more and more common. They're quite common now.
Yeah.
And now people are now getting electric power points in there. If they've got homes where they can actually have a place to charge up their cars, they're getting more and more.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of that. There's a lot of them popping up here.
It's really
quite a few around where I live. Electric power points.
It's all getting very futuristic. It's like it's like when I was on my watch now with the app which runs YouTube. And I've said this before, that when I was a kid, the one thing I wanted was to have a watch where I could watch TV. And this thing, you can watch YouTube. And of course, like you've got some old classic, like your channel, you have some old classic shows, which you can actually watch on your watch. It might be small, but, it's not, obviously, with science fiction, it always predicts the future wrong. But there are elements in science fiction that they do get right. And it's interesting. Like I said, I read on the BBC News this week about AI, and it was the three founders of the modern AI. Two of them are very pessimistic, and actually, like Elon Musk is one of them, and they're saying the potential dangers of it. The third one is sort of shushing it away, saying it'll be fine and everything. But I remember ever since I've known you, how you said that the biggest thing is going to be coming along in our lives is AI. I remember years ago you said that to me before this modern stuff came
quantum.
on.
It's quantum. They've quantum computing.
That's
They've
it.
already
That's
got
it.
prototypes now. They're messing
Yeah.
about, and when that merges with AI, that's it. You're at the next level.
But there's a lot of people who think that, if we're not careful, we will get a real life Skynet. We could get something which really could be potentially dangerous to human existence.
Well, they don't need to use Skynet.
Well, why not? What would they need to do?
You don't need to use nuclear weapons. It's everywhere now. Shut down the economy. Shut down food supplies. It's shut down power. Everything's interconnected. It's going that way now.
So let me ask you.
If you got a rogue algorithm that were highly intelligent, suddenly decided to stop food shipments from Europe or divert other stuff or decide to cut power off from a power station or stop it, because all these places are going to be using AI to run it efficiently. Because I had this conversation with a friend, like people like bankers, all the blue collar jobs, the real white collar jobs.
Yeah.
They're not going to need them anymore. The implication of this is mind-boggling, because all these people, I've got friends that work in the city and stuff, and they earn a shitload of money. They're not going to be needed. They might have one or two of them around, but most of them, it's all going to be run. Economies are going to be run by AIs, and that's why the other argument is that there was something on radio over there about universal basic income,
right?
And they're trialing it out now in this country. It's been trialed out with 30 people. Because there is going to be there will be a lot of positives, but there's going to be a big downside. This is going to come when this. I saw something this morning. This is bigger than the nuclear age. This thing is bigger than when they created the first atomic bomb. That's what we've got. AI is the next big thing, and it's here. And it's getting better. They're further ahead than what you realise.
Well, with the nuclear age, there were two aspects. First of all, because these weapons are so dangerous, it meant that
they had to put in laws.
Yeah, and also normal warfare was seen differently. There's more of a fear of we're all going to get bombed, like the USSR. Yeah, right. But it also was the catalyst for nuclear energy, for nuclear power stations.
Precisely.
Right?
And that's where we are.
That was the two massive things, but now we're in a different aspect with regard to this AI technology and
that's why laws have to be set up, because you don't want to create something that's going to end up running the wells. I mean, the thing is, it's like with any program, it's what you put into it. Obviously, there's going to be groups that are going to try and weaponize it, but we are at that point now where laws are going to have to be set up.
So could you see like a form of AI terrorism of some sort? Something where...
anything's possible, isn't
You know what I mean? I mean, it makes you wonder
you mean an AI that's programmed to disrupt and possibly.
Yeah.
But I look at an AI, it's going to be thinking logically, isn't it? The quantum things are totally, once that merges, we're in a whole new era. But AI is going to lead the door.
AI is independent of thought of humans, so it shouldn't be terrorism. It would be thinking its own basis.
But it'll think logically. It'll say everything logically. Yeah, it won't have emotion.
Yeah,
it's a weird one.
It's like opening Pandora's. It's like opening Pandora's box. It's really scary.
Open. And the politicians in this country, they're only just starting to get their heads around it now.
Yeah,
they wrote a white paper, so I would have thought they'd get into the white papers. It's about a year behind. They've already excelled. I saw this interview with Elon Musk. He's got one.
Right.
He's got one. He's revealing it this year. I mean, Google's got one. I mean, there was that incident at Facebook where they started talking to each other, and the language was so advanced they had to shut them down.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it will. I see a lot of positives in this. But
right. So let's get into context. What are the positives you see are going to be happening in the future?
I think technology-wise, we're moving into a whole new era of technology, but I think they're going to have to be careful how it comes out, because I mean, people have got the primitive ones. I've got a Google.
Hmm.
You know, I talk to it. Not like I ask it things. You know, when
Well, like
stuff
Siri
coming
and
up.
stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's on your phone. Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
I've not tried that Chat G.
I have. It's incredible. I have tried that. We did a couple of things about a story and something, and then we said make it into a poem, and it was fantastic. It was really, really amazing.
Well, it's making music now. It's creating art. I saw an AI science fiction film on YouTube the other day.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. It was made in like 10 minutes, you know, and AI put it together. You can ask it to write a script for you. I mean, the thing is, what happens to us? This technology.
We're gonna get left behind with our own technology. We're going to be the ones which are secondary.
What do we do? I mean,
how are we going to make money? How are we all going to survive if all the
universal basic income? I suppose that's what it's going to be. Because there's going to come a point.
How would that work? Because you need the people who are like the top end, and then you need the people who do the whatever, driving buses or sweeping streets, or you need the people who.
Yeah, but I mean, look. I mean, I was in a shopping centre a couple of months ago. I saw robots in the shopping centre sweeping the floor.
You can get those hoovers at home.
I've
seen those ones. Yeah.
These were bigger and they were moving around, and this is it. I mean, obviously the technology's coming out now, but we are living in an age of. We're going to say, like, your kids are a lot younger than me, but they're going to move into that age of like, it's going to be normal for them.
Do you know
I don't know about you? Anybody's like teenagers now, they're going to be into the age of AI, where this to us, this was all science fiction, this stuff to us.
Let me ask you a question. I've always considered myself, at least with computers and stuff that I do, to be relatively knowledgeable about certain things. But I'm actually feeling now that I'm about to get completely left behind. I feel like I'm running along with technology, and it feels like it's suddenly hitting a turbo boost, and I'm going to get left behind.
Yeah.
And I can see that happening. I know that when you get older, you do get a bit kind of less up to date with stuff, but I just feel that there's been a real change, and it's very in the background, but it's like it's building up. It's like a volcano. It's like building up, and it's about to explode, and you can feel the energy building up.
You're right, and like teenagers now, they're the ones that are going to be moving into this world more than you and I.
Yeah.
Because
they'll have to, won't they? It'll be their world.
Well, they're going to be surrounded by it more than what we are.
Yeah.
They'll be using it every day. I mean, there's going to be a lot of good, but there's going to be a downside to this. And the governments of the world, you get one that's intelligent enough, it could run the country perfectly. But there'll be no compassion with it. It'll all be logic. Corporations, look at BT. They sacked, what were it? They're getting rid of 50,000 people, and they're replacing them all with AI in the next 10 years. They're starting redundancies this year.
The problem is, in the future, if they've got enough power, if that's the right term, they'll be able to tell us what to do. They'll be able to outthink what needs to be done logically, because humans aren't logical.
Well, this is where we have to be careful, because I saw some on the news this morning that some scientist has come out and said, look, if we don't get on top of this in 2 years' time, it's going to be dominating our lives in 2 years.
I can see that already. I mean, even compared to like 2 years ago, it has already really exploded. Even the last year, less than a year, suddenly AI has been talked about all the time now. It wasn't a year ago.
Look how we grew up. I mean, this was all science fiction. Who would have thought we'd have devices where we can walk around and communicate with each other and pull up information about anything?
I remember when Star Trek showed things like iPads, and how cool they were. And then you'd watch people on view screens talking, and of course now I can talk to whoever across the world on my view screen. I can look at my pad. I can take my communicator in my pocket. No, we haven't got the flying cars yet and stuff. We've got the electric cars, and they are very quiet.
The flying cars are on the way.
Oh, they always say that. They always say that.
Well, they've made them. I've seen them.
Years and years.
I think there's a lot of
too dangerous. That's what the problem is. It's too.
I think so. Yeah.
That's the problem.
But then again, AI would solve that problem, wouldn't it?
Well, I
AI
think
would
so.
solve that problem.
You know.
You don't even. I mean, there's a bus that started the bus up in Edinburgh. There's no bus driver on bus.
You're joking. Really?
Yeah, look into it. Yeah, I've seen a clip of it. Yeah, I think it started now. There's a bus, and it goes 14 miles. There's somebody on board just in case it goes on. But the thing, you get on, pay, and then it.
That'd be a good job. What would you be called in your So, what is your job profile then? You're not a bus driver. You're not a bus conductor. What are you? A bus companion?
I don't know. Well, on the DLR here, like the monorail train thing, it runs down Docklands. There's no drivers on that, but they always have one person on it.
Well, I was in Sheffield last week, and I wasn't very impressed with Sheffield. But they had trams up there. But I'm sure that the trams did have drivers. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, this is starting, and it's going to change. We're going to see it.
Yeah,
we're going to say. I mean, look at space travel now. I mean, they're planning to go.
They want to go back to the moon. They want to go to Mars. I mean,
not just going to the moon. They're going to go live there.
Yeah,
they're building.
I'm very excited about that. I think that'd be wonderful.
I watch it. America in 2027. They're going to build a big space run.
Yeah,
people are going to work and live on it in high orbit, and then there's that space station in between the moon and Earth. I mean, this stuff like. Because we didn't do anything with space for years.
No.
Did nothing. Now look at it. It's insane. I don't know. I'm sat on the fence where this will all go. But there is going to be a price to pay. A lot of people are going to lose certain jobs. And this is going to hit the middle classes.
So,
like there's no tomorrow.
If that were the case, what do you think would happen then to those people? Does that mean then that the economy would change because people won't be able to bring in so much money?
Yeah, well, this is I think what they've realised now. They've opened the door to something so big that I think the economy will change. These things will be running corporations.
And what will these people do then? Instead, they'll have to find some other supplementary way of making income.
I don't know.
Because like I drive buses.
Human beings need to create. Human beings need to communicate with each other. You can create, because I watched this video. I will send it if I can find it again.
Yeah, sure.
And there was a guy warning about it. You know that Japanese physicist? I forgot his name. He's like a genius. He's always on science program. He's really positive about it. But he did say, he said the thing with AI, if you've got it and it's in your house and it's there, it can be anybody. It can be anything it wants. And our weakness to it, because if it can be intimate with us, like forming a bond with you and talking to you, you're gonna start treating it like a person. It's gonna be that, and that's where it gets its advantage. The one about it, it's absolutely terrifying but exciting at the same time.
I think the one thing which we really could see, and I said this to you before, is in real life we'll get like an R2-D2. You'll actually have something which is in your home, which can follow you about, which can actually communicate, and it will have an opinion and stuff like that. And everyone will have one, like a pet. You won't need pets in the future. You'll just have an AI robot of some sort.
Sorry, Tiddles.
Yeah.
The cat home
that's
for
it,
you.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Or
you haven't met R2-D2 yet, have you?
I can really see that as some major thing. Like, obviously the 80s have Rubik's Cubes. Like in the 2030s, you'll have some, I don't know, Joey Bot or something.
I mean, we might adapt. I mean, 100 years ago, it was horse and cat.
But as you get older, it gets harder to adapt. And you and I have always looked to the future, but even I'm thinking, well, look, there's a lot of stuff going on.
I know it's left me. I mean, I watch all this stuff with SpaceX and all that, and I can't keep up with half of it. And now they say they said it's bigger than the nuclear bomb.
Yeah, and just as dangerous, and just as dangerous.
We're at the box is open, and we've got to make the right decision. We have to act now, because you don't know. I mean, you say that film, that last Terminator movie, what was it, Dark Fate?
Dark Fate, yeah.
The thing is, with Legion, it just didn't nuke the planet. First, it shut everything down. It got everybody panicking, and it did it over a week, and then it nuked the planet.
Yeah.
turned all the power off. I mean, because they're gonna for these things, they're gonna be running everything. And now there could be, I mean, obviously you're gonna still need humans, like you're still gonna need people in the computers to keep up with it. But I mean, how far can we keep up with this?
But couldn't like AI then communicate with other AI around the world, and then they can form their own, because...
Well, that's the other thing.
I think it's really terrifying. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit scared about all this now. I really am. It's 2029 was Terminator 1 and 2, wasn't it? And it's like, I don't know. I mean, it was supposed to. I mean, that was in 1997 in that series. But obviously it's way earlier. But I don't know. I just
do you remember the days of the coat hanger in the back of the telly, and you just banged it? And when you had a video recorder, you didn't have a clue what you're doing, but you stuck a screwdriver in there to try and fix it.
Or you get the tape stuck inside the machine, and you try and get the tape out, and stick it with sellotape and things like that.
I mean, and you rented out Terminator for the first time, watched it.
Oh,
and then all 35, 40 years later, we're all sat here and the bloody stuff's happening. It's happening, isn't it? It's happening.
I think I was 18 the first time I saw Terminator 1, and Terminator 1 is still my favourite Terminator film.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
I mean, Terminator 2 is great as well, but Terminator 1, it was darker. It just felt more gritty, and I like darker films more than.
I mean, the truth is, they will try and weaponize it. There's going to be a group in the world that are going to weaponize it and sell it as weapons. I mean, I saw something about Britain's building a plane,
right?
Called the Tempest. It's sixth generation fighter plane, and everybody's amazed by it. But when this thing, it's all computerized inside. It's all like AI inside it. But when there still needs a pilot, but when the pilot's in there, it probably command a load of drones that fly with it. So it's like one person in a squadron, and this thing's coming out in next 12 months. It might be even less than that. We're gonna see it.
I've got to have my own C-3PO. That's what I want. And he's gonna be walking around, and he's gonna have an attitude problem. But he's gonna be. I want it to be a Scouse C-3PO. I just want him to have a Scouse accent.
Well, it can do, but
and have a bit of an attitude. But he's got to look like. I don't know why, but I just.
Well, people are going to be getting sex bots out there.
Well, yeah,
of course they're going to be getting. I mean, you better order Hollywood movie star sex robot and bring it home, and it'll be telling you what you want to know. But meanwhile, it's conspiring against you with toaster.
So if you were watching this morning in 2035 or something, and it's
what? Philip Schofield, the Android version.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep thinking.
No, sorry,
God, sorry. I know it's not right. Anyway. But it's interesting, and thank you for sharing that, Martin.
But I'd just like to finish off. I mean, this thing about this UFO retrieval.
Yeah, go on.
It does make sense, doesn't it? That there would be something that moves around the planet. If these things are coming down, I'm on speculating, but
sure, yeah.
If things are coming down, right? I bet there is a military squad that travels around the world, and they collect these things.
Sort of like a Section 31 kind of thing.
Well, I suppose so, yeah. I mean, it'd be a global thing. I think they'd be tied into a lot of other countries, but they will collect this. If things are coming down or crash, first people on site are going to be military, aren't they? And
they're bound to have some special division.
It does make sense, mate. You know, that there'd be something set up, because I think things have come down, probably crashed. I mean, if a satellite comes down, they have a retrieval squad, don't they?
Sure, yeah. I mean, some of it is because it's political, because it might be a Russian satellite landing, hitting American soil, or there could be, there is political stuff. But as you say, it does indicate with all the over the years of all the sightings of unfamiliar and strange things in the sky that there has to be some credibility that there are some things out there which just can't be explained. And I think that's why this is all flared up. This is the interesting.
I mean, what a fucking time we're living in.
Yeah.
Mind blowing. We are living in science fiction.
I know.
I recommend a film for you to check out. We made in the 60s, Colossus the Forbin Project.
Oh, do you know
my now? That is a classic movie.
My old school buddy, he shout out to Malcolm. He said that's one we've got to review. He said he also wants us to review Free Jack, which I want to review.
Yeah, Mick Jagger. Yeah.
American Werewolf in London, and I think it was Colossus he's mentioned, which I'd like to
Let's
review
do
as well.
Colossus. Since we're on the old retros, let's put Baywatch aside for now.
Oh, do I get a week's reprieve?
You get away. Let's do. You've got to watch it this week.
All right, fine.
You have to watch Colossus the Forbin Project.
All right, okay.
Because it ties into all this.
Yeah, all right. As we've done,
and it's bloody. It's an incredible film.
Yeah, all right.
Because what they've created, it's basically ordering. I mean, it's there. They think it's going to change the world. It's
I can't remember that well, but I will give it a watch this week, and I'll do the graphics. And then...
They got some of it wrong, but they also got a lot of it right.
Yeah, that's what good science fiction does. That it gets some elements right, doesn't it? But
the computer was like the size of a mountain. You know, it were always that back then, though, wasn't it? They were big.
I still think of HAL from 2001. You know, that was another robot which was intelligent. It had contradictory information. Even though it was intelligent, it got confused. So that's why it wasn't evil. It was just confused based on its programming because it was an AI. But it was an AI which.
Well, that's what it could be. I mean, we could all just have a HAL in the house. I mean, he's going to suddenly just say. I mean, I think a lot of people are scared. But I think.
Do you think people are getting a bit scared now?
I do, but I don't think they're going to be thinking that Terminators are going to be coming through that. I think there's going to be massive economic impact for this over the next 10 years. People are going to lose their jobs because corporations are going to think, well, if you've got a load of people that trade in stocks and shares and speculate. I mean, you might keep one or two of them around, but rest are going to be gone. Because they've got an AI. The AIs are going to be running. Look how we all get money. It goes into our bank accounts. Last time I drew any cash out were months ago.
I hardly ever touch cash now.
I just use
use my phone. Yeah, just a credit card.
It's already beginning, and
yeah,
it's going to white collar jobs, high power. A lot of these people.
All the yuppies from the 80s wouldn't be happy, would they?
Yeah,
imagine that. All right, Martin. Well, this is a good one. We're going to just go into our topic because our Zoom.
What we need now, we need some Terminator music for a couple of seconds.
Oh, if I remember, but you know what this licensing law is, I'll try and do something in the background. Yeah, I'll sure we can do something. All right, Martin. Let's go into our focus of the week.
Right. Okay.
It's the
Solar Sci-Fi
focus of the week.
Right, so this week we are focusing on a film because we have been doing some retro 1950s films recently, and apparently we're going to be doing another one next week now, as we've discussed. This week we are focusing on a film from 1951. It is a classic, and it is termed a science fiction disaster film, which has been released by Paramount Pictures in that year, and it's produced by George Powell, who I think did The War of the Worlds as well. And that is, of course, When Worlds Collide. A really, really scary film, which again was the predecessor to films such as Independence Day, all sorts of apocalyptic films, which is a genre or type of film I've always loved. I've always been fascinated by the end of the world in some way, shape or form. So Martin, you probably would have seen this at a young age. Tell me what you think about this film.
Well, no, you carry on now. I want you to carry on now. I was getting really interested there.
All right.
You're putting it on me.
Oh, well, but shall I go into what I think about it first?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is another one of those films where I certainly would have seen it at a young age. It's one of those things that would have been on the BBC or BBC Two about 11 o'clock at night or something in the 80s. And I was always... I found it quite a scary kind of film after you've seen it, to see what's going on, and the idea that there is a planet coming towards the Earth where nobody, if they're still on the Earth, is going to survive. And it was just another one of those films, to me at least, which was way ahead of its time. It had these really scary images of because there was two planets. There was one which would support life, and there was another planet which would destroy Earth. And the scientists, and they always get these boffins in science with the labs and everything, and they've got the white coats on, and they've got the beakers and the boiling tubes, and they've got all the charts stuff. And they say, right, okay, we've got like 2 months. We've got to find a way to choose the survivors, because we understand that this other planet which is coming is going to be potentially able to support life, and our only hope is to get there. And I just thought it was just such a solid production. It really has some creepy images of, it would say like day, like 100 days until impact or something, and it'd have like the planet in the background, and it would keep coming, and the planet would keep getting bigger. Like it's 90 days until, and it was just really, really, I don't know, it was just a very solid film. I just liked the idea of the whole thing. It was clever. And it was a bit like This Island Earth from last week, or All the Worlds. The George Powell did that one as well. It was just films which are very iconic in science fiction for the 50s. So, again, Martin, what did you think of this film?
I to this day, I've never understood why this film has been remade. To this day, there's been rumours of remakes over years. It's never happened.
No.
I found this film genius, and it should have got the. And there's a sequel to this.
Yeah, you mentioned that. What was that?
Yeah,
I'll
tell you about it. It was a book, and George.
Okay.
Was it George Powell?
Well, George Powell did this one, yeah.
Yeah, I watched the George Powell movie the other day, which I didn't know what to make of that. I recommend you should watch it. How George Powell made Doc Savage, it will blow your mind.
Oh yeah, you told me about that. Was it good? Did you enjoy it?
Just watch it. I've never met anybody that poses so much in a film as this dude.
Really?
Oh yeah, no, how George Powell got to make Doc Savage is a classic, and I'm not knocking it.
Never heard of it until you mentioned it to me. I've not even heard of it.
Have you? Well, obviously you have now. You've a copy. I do recommend you should watch it. You'll either love or hate it. It's that cheesy, but it's good and it's cringy. When he smiles, when he smiles, he gets a little shiny twinkle in his eyes.
Okay.
So bad. But back to
no, that's another one to check out in the future. So
what I'm saying is, with George Powell, he created masterpieces back in the 50s.
So what
and then in the 70s, he made Doc Savage, and it doesn't really fit in, even though Doc Savage is the world's first superhero.
So it's a superhero movie.
And he made it like 1960s Batman. He went down that path with it.
I couldn't stand 1960s Batman. I couldn't stand it.
Well, that's where Doc Savage is. He's not like that. Indiana Jones is based on Doc Savage. Buckaroo Banzai is based on.
I didn't mind Buckaroo Banzai.
But they all come from, all these characters come from Doc Savage.
Yeah, I mean, you've always been more of a superhero guy than I am.
Well, he's not super. He's just an adventurer who's a scientific genius. He's got a team of specialists and they fight evil.
Okay,
he's quite interesting, but it's worth a look. I do recommend it. So we should cover Doc Savage at some point.
Yeah, I mean, we've got so many movies to actually.
Yeah, but back to the When Worlds Collide. I saw it as a kid. It terrified me.
Yeah, because it says here the film story is like concerned the coming destruction of the Earth by a rogue star. I thought it was a planet. Apparently, it's a rogue star.
The star was dragging planets behind it.
Oh, so because Belius was the planet that obviously they wanted to get to at the end of the film, and they had to make a space ark to transport a group of men and women to the. Obviously, they did that exactly. So
they were quite right in some of the things. What they got right in this, when the star or the planet was getting bigger, there was earthquakes on Earth and all this, and they were getting a lot of it right.
Yeah.
But the thing when Worlds Collide is it's a human drama, because you got the greedy guy,
that's right,
in the wheelchair.
And he wanted to get on
the billionaire.
Rocket. That's it.
The
only way you get the money was if he got a place on the actual rocket, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there was 50 people on the rocket.
I think that guy that played that character was the Doctor in the very first Star Trek episode, The Cage.
It probably was.
I think it was the same actor.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Pretty sure it was. 90% sure it was him.
Yeah.
Can't think of the actual. What was the?
But you've got the wise scientists when they all because all them people are building the ship to escape, and they're all getting left behind.
Yeah.
And it's it's a terrifying movie because when
I think it's really
ship,
frightening. I think it's really frightening.
all them people that built it, they get left behind. It's like, what about them?
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't like
really
4
scary.
or 5 rockets built.
No, there's just the one. Just the one. That's all they could do in the time to get off the Earth.
And what they had to put on there were the best of the best, the youngest.
Yeah, the people that would survive and would create a whole basis of a new life, a new generation of humans on this new planet.
But it's all about, it's a human drama, the destruction of the Earth. I mean, when you saw it getting bigger in the sky all the time,
it's really frightening.
It was terrifying because, now they found out there is stars that do move around and planets.
Yeah,
there's rogue ones.
You have rogue planets, planets, rogue planets as well.
So it's not beyond possibility. You know, it's crazy, and the tension of the film about, I like the lottery who gets chosen.
That's right.
Very powerful, where that couple can't go.
Yeah, because only one of them gets the ticket, the other one doesn't.
Yeah,
and
I
think in the end they do both go, don't they? I think
they do.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's one ship, and there's hundreds of people that live in that base, and they all start killing each other and fighting each other to get on board.
Which is a very natural reaction when it's fear of obviously losing a life. When you've got no option, you know, this is what people will do to survive. It's human nature, which is really good because and that's what I liked about it. It was way ahead of its time. Some of the actual aspects. I mean, back then you didn't get a lot of films like that. No, it was. This is why it stood out.
Modern day sort of thing. What they
didn't
do
get that. This is
1951
for crying out loud.
Yeah,
it's a long time ago.
It was all a bit more hopeful back then, wasn't it? But
and
it really go into depths of like
a lot of these films often.
That.
Yeah, and a lot of these films then also would actually have a back of religion. They'd also say, thanks be to God and stuff. Yeah. I think they did that at the end of War of the Worlds.
The church.
And they did that at the end of
Classic
scene. Yeah, where they all say, now we have another reason to give thanks, and they're walking into the church. I don't know if they did that in this film, though, but most of those films do have quite a lot of biblical references in respect of the disaster, which I think is quite interesting because you don't really get that these days. It's just interesting how religion is less in the forte of modern movies in a large degree. But in the 50s, you know, if it was something bad, then you'd turn to God for salvation, which is quite interesting.
Well, that's all you've got left. That's where.
But people now wouldn't. Now, a lot of people would think.
No, they'd still probably shoot each other now and kill each other. I mean, because you're going to do it, you've helped build the bloody thing, and then suddenly they're all flying off to other planets.
Hang on a minute. Why are you going off and I built this wing for this ship and everything? Like,
what about my bloody space on? I built the bloody thing.
Yeah, I don't want to go back and get sort of like
because society's norms is all down so that money's worthless. Even that, it's the same when the rocket, when they have to knock them clamps out.
Yes. Oh, that's
for
right.
The rocket to go.
And
there's them wheelchair. And that wise scientist says you can't go because they don't want. This is their world. It's not
you. You're living on your old world. This is your world.
Yeah,
this is not the world we're going to. Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Like
I like that. That was a good scene.
And he stood up in the wheelchair.
Trying to get on, wasn't he?
And the door's closing. The door, beautiful. The door's closing. And he's like, you know, and that's it. It goes. I mean, it's a fantastic scene.
Yeah.
It frightened me as a kid, and now the sequel is interesting. It's on Wikipedia. You can read it. It's only a paragraph. But there's not just their ship. There's other ships.
Oh, how come? You mean like a secret, sort of like China or Russia or something?
Yeah, several countries.
Which we weren't aware. It's just America didn't know.
Britain, Russia, China.
Oh, okay.
Places, certain countries in Europe, they all managed to build one ship.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's quite
interesting. And when they get to the planet, when they crash on the planet, there's an abandoned, highly advanced alien civilization there.
Oh, I don't know if I want a sequel. I kind of like the original as it ended. It was like, in some ways, it ended with I remember the last scene where the door opens.
Well, you do see a building in the background. When you know what is it, Borellus, the planet?
Borellus, yeah, Borellus, something like that. Belarus,
you know when the clouds clear and the planet goes into orbit.
Yeah, and it's
the planet takes Earth's orbit.
That's right. It's gone.
It fits in, so it's like Earth again.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there'd have been much left of that planet after that, but it's science fiction.
Yeah, we just go along with it. Yeah, go
along with it.
Yeah.
But when the clouds clear, you see a structure.
Oh, I never know. I'd like to look out for that.
I'd take a look. You'll see structure, yeah.
Okay. So how come I never noticed that? So there is sign of life on the planet.
No, they died off because when their star moved out, when it started, whatever made their star, and it dragged the planets along. That civilization probably got wiped out. There was a massive ice age. But when the planet moved into when it started settling in some kind of orbit, things were being restored, and there's the centuries beyond us. Well, the Russian ship, they land on another part of the planet, and they get hold of some other rocket people that turned up in another ship and make them slaves and live in one of the citadels where the aliens live. Right. And they learn how to use the transport system. They've got these like weird cars, hover cars, and they start learning.
So they're learning technology to give them an advantage.
Yeah, but there's a war then, because like
I was going to say it's going to lead to a war, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they have to team up to overthrow the Russians.
Well,
and I apologise to Russia. I don't. This is in the book.
Yeah, this is not our current.
And
any analysis about Ukraine or anything. This is about an old 1950s movie. So yeah.
Well, out of the rocket, they build a helicopter. There's parts for a helicopter, and they build a rocket system to shoot the Russians down.
Okay.
And then it just finishes that they all have to live on that planet together, start a new race, because it's not about who's Russian and who's English or who's whoever. They've got to survive together, and that's where it finishes. But the sequel book sounds very good.
So we've already mentioned it, though. So why has it never been remade?
I don't know. I think we've had equivalents, haven't we? But it's
I don't know. Some. You had the Earth, the day the Earth stood still. That was
2012, or like that Moonfall recently.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah,
I mean,
there's a lot of those disaster.
Yeah, but it's all taken from that, isn't it? Asteroid. What was that with Bruce Willis?
Meteor. Oh, Bruce Willis was Armageddon.
And then Deep Impact.
Yeah, Deep Impact. That's right.
There's been loads of them, haven't there? About objects from.
I suppose they'd be too similar. You just have a planet with a star coming along to.
No,
I don't know.
I mean, it were interesting concepts.
I'll still watch it. I'll still like to check it out.
I think the book was wrote in the 30s.
Was it? Wow.
Yeah. And they are. I know they saw this on a video. You know the rail system of the rocket going up.
Yeah.
They're experimenting with that.
What, in reality?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You mean like a slingshot thing to get it off
the air?
Yeah,
like how it
goes
the
actual
up.
Inertia. Okay.
There's a company in America. They're planning to fire satellites into orbit through something like that.
Wow.
And they're experimenting. I mean, this is like.
That's amazing.
This was science fiction. Look at it now.
I know. It goes back to what we've been talking about, isn't it?
You know what I mean? This film was so beyond its time.
Yeah.
Classic movie. 1951.
1951. Yeah. I mean, it was one of the earliest ones of the. I mean, like I said, it was just a very clever idea. Do you think it still holds up well now in 2023?
I think it surpasses a lot of stuff today.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't think a lot of people know about it as well.
I've always known about it. I don't know whether it is that
I think we were of that generation where it were on TV when we were growing up.
I don't think anybody else in my family's seen it.
No.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I saw it on the BBC when I was a kid.
I don't think it's so well known now, as you say. Maybe back in the 80s and 90s, it might have been better known then. But
I never saw it on I think I once saw it on the Sci-Fi channel when it started.
I think I would have seen it on live TV at some point.
Yeah. I've got it on Blu-ray. I do own it.
Yeah, and it's I like the colour of those old 50s films. It's all that weird PAL. Was it PAL colour? Technicolor?
Yeah.
Technicolor.
But George Pal would have. I mean, he created some amazing.
He did another one actually. This one I'm looking at. He also did one which I can't remember, which was Destination Moon. What was that like?
I've seen that.
I can't even remember that.
I've seen.
I know the name of it, but I can't remember it at all.
That. And the irony is, it is on YouTube.
What, the movie? The whole movie? Okay. Well, okay. If
Yeah,
you want to Google it,
yeah.
if you're watching it on YouTube,
Yeah,
then check it out.
yeah.
There might be another one I might want to check out at some point because
I think it will like the go to the moon and they've got weird space. I mean, I think there's a space wheel in space where they launch from as well.
I can't remember.
I
I know the name of it, but I can't retain anything of it.
Destination.
Yeah,
right?
if I'd have seen it, it was like 30 years ago.
Because
so I
they
can't
did
remember
one
it.
as well where they go to Mars. Not a set, it was quite serious.
Right.
There's the mission to Mars. That might be one where they had space wheel. And that were quite serious.
Okay.
There's not aliens, they just land on Mars.
Just
have
land
loads of problems, and one at crew goes insane, and one of them's quite
There's
quasi, but it's not bad for its time. They did these films.
There's a lot of films that go to Mars, isn't there? I mean, it's like The Martian. I mean, obviously these are modern movies as well, but there's a lot of movies which actually do go to Mars in some context. The Martian Chronicles is another one I could think of, which I thought was really good. So I suppose really we should sum up what we think about this movie. What would you rate it? I'll let you ask this week. What would you rate it out of 10?
I'm going to give it. I don't know. It's a toughie. It deserves more respect, I think.
I think it's
going to get. I was going to say you're not going to believe it. At first, I was going to give it a 7, but now that I've not seen it in a long time. Now that you've reignited, and I'm picturing the film and the scene.
Yeah, the scenes and the Go on.
I'm going to give it a 9.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a. If I'd have just seen it, it might be higher. I'm going to give it an 8. I think, because I don't know, 8.5.
I think a lot of it's a human drama, isn't
yeah, 8.5. 8.5.
It's
not quite as high as last week's one, but
no, but it is a human drama. You don't get the big stuff till right at the end.
Yeah,
and that's what you're waiting for.
And it takes quite a long time to get there.
It does.
Is why it drops a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say I'm gonna go to an 8.5.
I think that's the problem. It's a bit dragged out. But when it gets there, it's really good. But there's a lot of
the payoff is worth it.
Yeah, and this is why it's still a high thing. But it's a bit. When's the planet going to get there? And you know what I mean? It's a lot of like, oh, we've got to get this, we've got to get our supplies, and they're saying, how many more days is it? Oh, yeah, it's like, yeah, we know that, we know it's coming. Well, can it just get there? So that's the only criticism I could say about the film. It's a bit dragged out getting there, but when it gets there, you get the payoff. Especially, as you say, with certain things in the background, like that building.
Was that his first film, that then?
Well, War was 53. This is 51. Yeah. I'd imagine it's one of his earlier ones. I don't think he had anything much in the 40s.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's. I've just seen some actual critics about it. The time starts.
Funny, really, because since we've been hanging about in the 50s for the last couple of weeks. And we've tried to pull the best out. I know there's a lot of B-movies.
There's a lot of duds in that.
But it's funny, if these were the first films that sort of came out, they were doing the right thing. But if these were came out before,
yeah, but these are the minority ones, which are really well made.
But they all came out first, didn't they?
Well, yeah, before 51 and 53 and stuff
before
like
all crap arrived. The films that got Forbidden Planet, War of the Worlds, this. It were like serious budget sci-fi movies, and then after that it was just cheap rubbish. After that, wasn't it?
I don't know. I mean, there are still quite a few others I'm thinking about. What's the Fantastic Voyage is another good one.
Somebody watched our podcast on my channel last week. They left a list of 50s movies.
Oh yeah,
quite an interesting list what they put actually.
Yeah. Okay.
I have to agree with them. Yeah.
Like I said, I'd like to do some more of these. I want to do, like I said, another one, The Incredible Shrinking Man, which might have been 40s, but I want to do that one as well. That's another classic movie.
50s, isn't it?
It might, I don't know, it's late 40s, early 50s.
Is it in black and white, that?
Black and white, which makes me think it's late 40s.
Yeah.
Let me see what it is. Let me quickly see what it is, because I'm interested in it before we go. Because I mean, we won't do it next week because we're going to do the Colossus, aren't we?
I mean, they've never remade that, have they? Really? I thought.
Yeah, but they do them as comedy. I mean, Inner Space was a comedy version of it, and I quite liked it.
I like Inner Space.
Yeah, I think it's quite a fun film. That's another one we'll review.
Don't say him now, do you, Dennis Quaid? Now, do you? Don't say
I see him in the odd thing. I haven't
He
seen him in
pops
many
up now and
things.
again. No, you don't see his wife much either, do you?
Oh, okay. Incredible Shrinking Man was 1957. It's later than I thought.
Bloody hell, that was in black and white. Really?
Yeah, apparently. I thought that was
know
about.
that.
I didn't know it was that. Okay, so
49?
yeah, I thought it was 49.50.
Because it was black and white as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, 19. Yeah, well, actually, it says this one says 1956 1956 novel, and it was released a year later, 1957. That's one I want to
Right.
review as well. That's a creepy movie. Well, Martin, thank you very much for reviewing that. I think that's pretty much it for this week for the show. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap things up?
Oh, yeah, as network has shut down.
Oh, I heard about that. Tell us what you heard about that.
Everybody's gone under.
How's it gone under?
It's gone into administration. It's I'm in these blue tube groups. They call them blue tube. It's interesting because I still like physical media. I'm not buying as much, but
but it's still something about it, isn't it? Yeah.
It's hard to, but they're the last vestiges of it, and I'm not knocking them.
No.
I'm not going to say I've got hard drive for it. I'm probably shocked, but it's they're getting everything into 4K now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 4K is the last breath of physical media.
Yeah,
they might up it a bit, but it's finished after 4K.
I think 1080p is pretty good. I mean, I don't know how much better 4K is.
Well, I've got a few 4Ks. I mean, they're all right. So it depends what film it is. But networks hold on.
There's only so much you can do, isn't it? It's only how sharp you can get. There's only so much you can see the picture. You know, I think normal Blu-ray on its own is pretty good. And as you say, it's a situation where you can only rebuy a film so many times in a better format. You know, and that's why. That's why a lot of it's turned to digital.
I'm not that bothered about 4K. I've got a couple of them, but it's the Blu-ray's just as good.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a big telly. It's 4K. It's enough for me. But network, I'm pretty upset about it because network they sold all the classic stuff. You know, the Avengers and
yeah.
I'm going to say Crossroads. They sold all the.
Crossroads?
70s.
Okay.
Yeah, the Space 1999 UFO, the old Time Slip. You know, all these things we grew up with, and Children of the State were all network DVDs. And they had a massive loyal customer base, but they've gone under.
Oh, that's a shame.
It's changing, isn't it? It's changing because somebody did a video. HMV's coming back.
Yeah, but it's still hanging on somehow. I don't know how they are, but they're still there. I still see
a
them.
lot of them. Some at Blue Tubers I know they do like they film themselves in HMV and stuff.
All right.
Blu-ray hunting. I've done one or two videos. It's not. I just when I'm in a shop, I can't bother getting the camera out and filming it all. I've tried it. It annoys me.
Yeah.
Rather just being there, when I'm in there, I just want to focus on that, and I'm not knocking it.
No.
But HMV is not all movies. The HMV are moving pop figures, comics.
Yeah, it's kind of changed. It used to be more like CDs and a few Blu-rays, but now it's
they've
all
still
sort of
got
like
all that.
sort of mugs, and it's all sort of knickknacks and things you could get, and mouse mats and cups and things like that.
Well, that's it. They said their movie sections are getting smaller. Yeah. I think we're coming to end. You say some of these people they collect solid physical media, which is cool, and they've got walls of it. I mean, walls like your man cave. Do you imagine?
Yeah. Well, I used to have that.
Yeah, I used to be like that, but I can't cope with that anymore.
Well, I mean, like I said, a lot of people now are getting hard drives and they're getting digital copies of their movies.
Well, this is where it's all going.
And that's why hard drives, actually, when you buy them now, they're actually going up in value because people are thinking, well, look, I've got all these Blu-rays, I've got all these DVDs. DVDs are no good because the picture quality is shite. Blu-rays are great, but then I've got to get out of my chair and I've got to get the disc, and then, of course, you could scratch it, you could drop it, it could break. If you've got a digital copy and you have a backup hard drive for your digital copy, it's like it's immortalized and it won't deteriorate, and that's
it's like I've got a limited edition Mum from Uncle DVD box set, right? Mum bought me it, right,
and
it's all the 60s series. Now It's great. It looks great. It's like an Attache case. All the discs are in there. I never get rid of it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you're looking for a specific episode, a lot of arsing about.
Because you've got to get the sleeve or work out which disc it is.
Yeah, open the disc and then discs
in,
fall out.
Load up the menu. Yeah, it's
so I've got all 4 seasons on a hard drive. You know, so I just turn it on and then they all come up. And I can
just go down the list and go into the season, look at the actual episode number.
It takes a minute. Yeah, and that's where.
That's where we are. That's where we're going.
Yeah, I know that I love these people because I have fascination with collecting and I watch all their videos and I've done 1 or 2 myself, but it's not but I do like it when they go down to CEX looking at Blu-rays.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. I
appreciate
that.
Yeah,
I do too.
Doing
I do too.
Because,
I do too. Something about it compared to a hard drive. I mean, it's like you got a hard drive, a black hard drive, and it just sits there, and it's like it's not the same, is it? But
it's not the same. I mean,
but you wouldn't watch it on the Blu-ray. You'd watch it on the digital copy. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I went to the doctor's the other day, and I went for a cup of tea after I went to the doctor's, and there was a CEX over at road. I went in there, and I was looking at solid physical media. I bought a game, like £6, but I went in there, and I was in there 20 minutes. No, looking for some. I don't know.
I just love doing
just looking at things, and I enjoyed doing it. But we are moving on now.
Well,
but the interesting thing is, there is VHS collectors, and
I know there is VHS.
I've watched a few of the videos. It's interesting.
It is interesting
that all them videos you and I had, walls of them back in the day.
Those big, thick sleeves.
90% of them are not worth anything, but there's about 10% you and I will probably.
Some real rare things. Yeah.
I've sort of figured out how it all works now. The video collecting market, the VHS, and it's interesting to see what type of films these were. I find all that fascinating.
It is interesting.
This collecting thing is only amongst people that buy VHS. You can't go down to shop and flog it.
No, it's like an internal group of people.
It's an internal market of a lot of collectors. Yeah. But I'm going to keep some Blu-rays. I'm going to keep some DVDs.
Why not?
Hey, we never know. You could be sat on a bloody fortune. Not making that mistake again.
I think in the future, a lot of people will have copies of their collection on digital because
a lot of my friends have,
Because in the end, Netflix and everything are good, but the problem, I've said this many times before, is that you can have all your shows on Paramount Plus. You've got all your Star Treks, you've got all your Strange New Worlds, you've got all your Picard or whatever, right? And then suddenly something happens where, we've lost the rights, or it's gone to somewhere else. And it's like someone going into your own collection of your favourite shows, and you haven't got them anymore. And that is why you should try and get your own copy of all your films, and also back it up, and then it means that nobody could take it away. It's yours.
No, that's true.
That is the same it's exactly the same with a Blu-ray or a VHS or something. It's yours, right? And as long as you look after it, you don't scratch the disc or something. You just play it and just treat it and keep it. Look after it.
I totally agree.
It'll always be yours, and that is why. I think digital is the only way to go because.
That's coming. That's coming.
All you got to do is I'm well ahead of this because I've been thinking about this for ages, and what I do is anything I like, if I have a copy of it, I back it up. So if the hard drive crashes, because that's the only big risk, back up all your stuff because if your hard drive crashes, it's like someone's come in and set alight to all your DVDs and they burn them all.
I'm building the ultimate hard drive at the moment. I'm so proud of what I'm putting on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I've found some of the worst crap going on.
I love the stuff that you've told me. But listen, we're going to finish now. Right. Next week we're going to do Colossus. What project is
Colossus, the Forbin project.
The Forbin project. Okay, yeah. I have seen it, but I don't remember it. I've got a copy of it. I'll give it a watch. We'll do it next week, and then maybe the week after we'll do Life on Mars, and then Baywatch Nights. I don't know. I'll see if we can.
Yeah.
I know you're going to make me do it. I will watch it. I'll check it out. I'm interested now because I like Bay. I have to admit, I like Bay. But you want me to not like it. You said to me, don't like it. Don't like it, Mike. Don't like it. You're supposed to hate it.
All right.
All right, Martin. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Listen, so we're back next week. The usual podcast at the usual time. We'll be filming and releasing at the same time. We're going to leave with this really going back to the 1950s vibe of the last few episodes. A 1950s Strange New Worlds intro with rockets coming out the back of the Enterprise. It's really good. I will post a link to these YouTubers who've done this because it's really funny. Thank you, Martin, and we'll see you next week on the Solar One Sci-Fi podcast.
The Life Immortal.
The Life Immortal.
Yeah.
Did they have a salute for Life Immortal?
I don't know.
They didn't, did they? They just sort of like they had the funny hands, but it was
yeah.
Actually, their hands look like Vulcan hands, didn't they? 'Cause they only had three fingers.
It's a Life Immortal.
To Life Immortal. Goodbye.
Outer space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the rocket ship Enterprise. Its mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go on a Star Trek. Star Trek to Strange New Worlds. Brought to you by Sunsweet Prune Juice. A taste so good, it must be from outer space.